you see labeled on the map just past the Forge Road. I don't know if any of you noticed or not, but when we go back and cross the gate, look immediately to your left and you'll see that deep cut of an old road. That's the Forge Road. That's what the Confederates are trying to gain possession of so that they can march out of here and march to freedom. So that's kind of the goal of the whole thing. Now, there is a federal brigade here, of course, MacArthur's 3 Regiment Brigade of Illinois troops that's standing in the way of that. And there's going to be heavy fighting up here. Now, this
right to my back is going to be dropping off into Lick Creek.
Lick Creek, exactly. This is not, as you can tell, major park land. This, in fact, has been recently bought by the Civil War Trust. So if you are a member of the Civil War Trust, you are part of acquiring this for the National Battlefield. And in fact, if you have one of the Civil War Trust maps or one of the actual park maps, it goes all the way down to Lick Creek and along the Forge Road and all that. So there are hundreds of acres out here that have recently been bought by the Civil War Trust. So thank you. I see a Civil War Trust shirt right there, and I've seen some hats, and there's a hat. So thank you for what you do in terms of helping to preserve Fort Donelson. Now, the Confederates, if you'll notice, they have done a wheeling maneuver or a turnabout, if you will. They have come out the old Charlotte Road, as he discussed a little bit ago. They got to the foot of the ridge, Dudley's Hill, which is down that direction. This ridge slopes gradually all the way down to the confluence of Barn Hollow and Lick Creek. So there's a gradual rise in that ridge to the high point where we're standing. And the Confederates are going to hook around and come up that ridge and intend to hit McClernand's division, which they think ends with Oglesby's brigade right back behind you. They do not
know of the redeployment of MacArthur.
They don't know MacArthur's here. They get here after dark, and MacArthur is none too happy about that because they don't have time to look and reconnoiter the ground and all that. So they're as surprised the next morning as the Confederates are that MacArthur's here, that the Confederates are even coming here. And they're not very happy. But the Confederates will move up Dudley's Hill, the ridge. You can still go over there, but it's a heavily urbanized area, a subdivision. You can get in back in Castle Lane, and there's some other roads back in there. And actually, when I do hiking tours, you can't get a bus back in there. There is absolutely no way, and I think our bus driver's actually mad at us we didn't tell her she was going to have to back out until we got down in here. But she figured it out. The dead end sign gave it away.
Now look at the Confederate line. 7th Texas on the right on Brown Hollow, and over here is the 1st Tennessee. You can see they have driven MacArthur from his initial positions, and they're pressing forward to get astride the Forge Road. And you can see that they have bending him back, and as we move through these series, we're going to say they're going to be doing the same thing to Oglesby, and then the same thing to W.H.L. Wallace. This is when everything is going swimmingly for the Confederates. And as you're going to see as we get through the maps, you're going to find Buckner arriving. Buckner is arriving in the area where we were. See, there you can see French's battery. Buckner has been driven. Buckner's men have moved from the extreme right, and they're going to attack down that road that we came out by the industrial area, and then you can see where the Winds Ferry Road. And they're going to be rolling the Union line up in succession. MacArthur, Oglesby, and Wallace, and drive them down into Bufford Hollow.
Plus another brigade under Lew Wallace, Charles Cruft's brigade, that has been sent as reinforcements. So 4 federal brigades are going to be just manhandled out of here.
And Cruft has some bad luck when he comes up. He's going to fire into the rear of some of Wallace's men. That's not pleasant.
All right, there apparently was a large field out here that everybody in their reports talk about. obviously there's a large field now, but we don't know the dimensions of that field. And again, this is an area where, you know, it would have been wonderful if the veterans had established a park here in the 1890s and could have come back and said, this is the dimensions of the field, this is where we came through, and so on. There was also a structure, a two-story structure, somewhere out here that all the accounts talk about. And we don't know where that was. You know, in a perfect world, Brian could get some archaeologists out here and try to find some footings or some areas where the house may have been. But unless you do things like that, it's very difficult to determine exactly pinpoint where troops were.
In the Civil War centennial, we could have got this land. We could have got that industrial area, but we do not. We buy a big tract of land over there and around the widow Chris' house, not buying this land.
That was in the 1960s, the centennial.
Yeah, when they could have bought land anywhere they wanted it.
Wow. And whose decision was that?
That is the regional office.
The wonderful regional office, yeah. Oh boy. So now we're just scraping and trying the best we can to preserve all the land that we can. And fortunately, again, the Civil War Trust has done so. But if you're really interested in the Confederate attack up the slope of Dudley's Hill, and again, like I talked about, Thursday night, I guess, everything from here on will be on this high ridge, starting down at the foot of this hill where Barn Hollow and Lick Creek come together. We'll start the rise here, come to the high point here, and then down just a little bit between Barn Hollow, Bufford Hollow, Barn Hollow, Lick Creek, Barn Hollow, and Aaron Hollow, and Bufford Hollow. So all of this is on this high ridge that extends all the way down. The Confederates will be attacking across and up, and the Union forces trying to hold this position here.
And what is going to happen is that that Buckner wants to keep pushing the attack, pushing down Winds Ferry Road further and further. That's what his plan of attack is. And he will go back and he will talk to General Floyd. And Floyd will stand there and really not make a decision, indicate, do what you want. Then immediately shows up General Pillow, and Pillow says, learns of the desire of Buckner to continue pushing the advantage, continuing advancing along the Winds Ferry Road, and he is going to say, no, we've agreed beforehand. It isn't in writing, it's in his mind. We agreed that when we went out, as soon as we opened a way to Nashville, I will take my men back into the Fort Donelson area. There we will pick up Bailey's brigade. We'll pick up Head's command. We'll pick up the field artillery, and we'll march out, and everything will be hunky-dory. He does this reversal twice, and unfortunately for the Confederates, the last decision favors Pillow, and Pillow will go back in, and unfortunately Grant has showed up about that time. Wallace's fresh brigades are on the field. Morgan L. Smith and the brigade commanded by Thayer, and Grant has already noticed the Confederates are carrying a lot of extra gear, like they want to break out, and Grant's going to make the decision, and Wallace will carry it out, and that is Wallace is going to take the offensive and recover the ground using Morgan L. Smith and Thayer to recover the ground that has been lost. Meanwhile, Grant has gone back over to where Charles Ferguson's C.F. Smith is, and he's told Smith, now, this is your time to go. And that's when that attack is going to start in here. And all this time, the Confederates are pulling back, and they have to pull back fast. Remember, when Charles Ferguson Smith seizes their defense line, they've got to get their ass back there as fast as they can, or they're going right into Fort Donelson, and his men have to double time back there. So you're probably getting confused. Speaking of a enlisted man, he's wondering what type of idiots are leading us here.
Where is Lick Creek?
Lick Creek is to that direction, the southeast, flowing kind of to our east and southeast.
Now, before it quits, it'll be over there behind you folks.
Yeah, kind of flowing in at an angle.
And that's the extent of the water they'd have to cross between here and Nashville, I guess, a few creeks.
Right, you cross Lick Creek getting out of here, out
Yeah.
of this trap. Then you've got other creeks, but you don't have to cross the Cumberland River.
Yeah.
That's why you don't retreat going southwest, because you'll have to, out the Wind Ferry Road, Wind Ferry is on the Tennessee River. And you would have to cross the Tennessee River eventually, and you can't do that. But here, the option is you don't have to cross the Cumberland River to get to Nashville, because Nashville is on the south side of the Cumberland River. So that is their plan to fall back in that direction and join Johnson.
Now the trust hopes to acquire a much bigger tract here than they did. They acquired what is about 50-acre tract here, and they wanted to acquire more, but they didn't have that type of money. I think maybe Lighthizer should have given this a higher priority.
It's good stuff. Good stuff.
But